When we started this conversation, we talked a little bit about how this is preparing the next generation to take over a business and how to transfer that knowledge to the next generation. What role can mentoring have in a formal succession planning process?
Finding the next generation and the key managers is not done very well. Most companies don't do it very well. So I think mentoring helps to develop people to fill positions. The only problem we have is organizations need to start looking at developing their talent pools and then kind of looking strategically at what kind of talent is necessarily needed for different positions and let them work in an environment which is adjacent to or in some way interfacing with those functions. One of the group activities a company can do, and I mentioned it I think earlier, is they can form advisory groups or cross-functional teams. That helps to develop succession planning. And I think also, especially when it comes to channel management and distribution, I know from talking to a lot of my clients, a lot of companies look at the sales force. They're looking at who's going to take over a role in managing distribution, and they have a tendency to always look in the same place. In reality, I think sometimes they're overlooking the opportunities that exist in other disciplines within the organization. And to develop that succession planning, what I did at Loctite, and which worked very well, is we developed an operations and logistics advisory group where we had functionality from different parts of the organization working with distributors in the same functions in their organization, which kind of broadened the horizons of everybody. And I gave people experience to be able to be put into positions where they could be a successor, maybe not in the discipline that they are currently working in. There are other ways of doing it, but the talent pool has to be identified. And then I think you need to make sure that they have an opportunity to be exposed to a lot of different things in the organization that would round them out. I mentioned peripheral vision earlier. One of the things I received from other people, developing that skill. And I think a lot of people get very myopic in the roles that they play in the organization. And the companies need to set up an environment where the people in their talent pool can develop this peripheral vision to see the whole picture within an organization rather than just the jobs they're trying to perform.
Well, great. That's certainly a lot of information to think about with regards to mentoring and succession. Is there anything else about mentoring that we didn't cover that you think is an important part of the mentoring story?
I really think that the mentoring story is, well, I think I'm a living example of the mentoring story because I received so much advice from other people. I think it's just something that is essential for the success of an organization and the longevity. When I talk about success, I'm really talking about where's it going to go from here. When people leave, there's sort of like a big hole in the water, so to speak. You know, the old adage, stick your hand in a bucket of water and you pull it out. You never know that somebody was there. But you have to make sure that the experiences and the legacy of the organization is kept on. Now, a change is inevitable, but there's some core values, some core principles of an organization that need to be nurtured and carried forward. For example, when I mentioned Loctite's philosophy that our distributors are our channel partners, not our customers, is one that could get lost unless it's nurtured and passed on. And that's what part of the mentoring process has to take place. And I really think it's an essential aspect of an organization's strategic plan for the future. As we said, create the environment for this to take place.
Well, thank you so much for your time today, Kevin.